Here we are again.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to our second live taping of Between Two Stands. Oh, my name's Andres, by the way.
I'm Scott.
I'm Abe.
And, yeah, this is a show about showing the personalities of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. I did that backwards or something. Anyway, luckily, you guys have been here for the past hour. So figured we would start off this discussion about not the orchestra, the hall itself, but what were some of the most memorable orchestral or performance experiences you guys have had in your life, in your career?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for staying. I thanked you for being here before, but thank you for staying for a second show. You're either suckers for punishment or just true fans, and I appreciate you all for being here anyway. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Terrific. My ego needs that. So memorable performances. The two that stand out most, it's interesting because they're actually both operas for me. I used to play with the Houston Grand Opera, and there was a performance of Wagner's Tristan and Isolde, which is unbelievably long. I mean, Wagner operas are long, and it's not even his longest opera, but it takes 4 hours to play, and the first horn part is incredibly difficult, and I'm like sweating and tired, but the music's so beautiful, and just the entire experience of it like had me in tears for the last performance because it just meant so much, and that was a really special performance for me. The other one was actually our new music director's first concert with us. We performed a stage version of Puccini's Turandot, and it was memorable because of how surprising it was. Maestro Beniamini was here because our music director, Leonard Slatkin, was ill. And so we had a last-minute fill-in. And as you might expect, a last-minute fill-in is sort of a grab bag. You have no idea what to expect. It could be anything. And then it was so efficient and fun and rewarding and inspiring, and we managed to do what I think was a really fantastic performance.
And I'll add that that was during a time where we were in search for a new music director, so we were seeing a lot of people and almost numb to how many people we were seeing. It personally, it was just oh, all right, another person up there, whatever. So it's just you kind of had to you had to be special to do that. I feel
it's hard to stand out.
Yeah.
You know, Scott, you mentioned Wagner and that you were crying at the end of one of the operas. And I was crying at the end of a performance of a Wagner opera for a different reason.
It's so long.
Because the string parts are so ruthless and so tiring. And we did a staged version, and my arms were about to fall off at the end. And I was just, the second performance, I had tears running down my face because my arms hurt so much.
Raw fingertips.
Not that the music's gorgeous, but then to not be able to listen to it on top of that because my arms hurt so much, really bugged me.
Well, isn't that one of the old jokes about Wagner, is that he thought that the bows of string players were just 10 feet long and completely unrealistic with how to perform the music that he wrote? Right. This is oh, you figure it out. We're trying. So
for me, I mentioned this just previously, but in Europe, I was doing the summer festival, and it was at that Stepanienzahl Hall, and we were playing Also sprach Zarathustra, Strauss's Also sprach Zarathustra, and I feel all of us, I would say 95% of people know that piece very well, especially the first 20 seconds, dun 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 bum 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 bum, it's in the 2001 Space Odyssey.
For those of you that didn't know, Andres was in a choir.
Yeah.
Excellent singing.
Yeah, exactly. I'll sing the rest of it later. But personally, at that point in my life, I had never heard anything past that opening. And I was I didn't know, and I saw that we were playing it, and I'm oh, we're going to play that 10-second, whatever. so we get to the first rehearsal and we play through the whole thing. So actually, I guess it's cheating. This is not like a performance. This was actually a first rehearsal. But we ran through the first rehearsal and we played the rest of it. And after those 20 seconds, it's some of the most beautiful music ever. Like, just the most beautiful string writing. Just like it's incredible. After that, bombastic opening. Sorry, I'm having a malfunction here. But anyway, that was a really
You have some
memorable.
other masks on the ground there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was memorable because it was like, it opened up a whole new world, especially with Strauss. But like just being in Europe, playing that, that piece and knowing more about that piece in particular, it was just like it was really great. So that definitely stood out to me for sure.
Yeah, I have two quick things, and the first is that I've said this a couple times on the show, and this is my third orchestra I've been in my career, and each of the orchestras I've been in have been in a music director search, either while I've been joining the orchestra or shortly thereafter, and I have to say that Scott talked about Yotter's performance of Turandot, and I have to say that each of the orchestras that I've played in, it's a very memorable moment for me in 3 different concerts when you recognize this is the person that's going to be leading your orchestra, and nobody really knows it yet. And there's just a sort of this connection that the conductor has with the orchestra. It just kicks to another level, and it's pretty magical. So I've been really lucky to be able to be a part of that process a few times now. For the most memorable performance on my end is actually a kind of a sad story. So I was playing in the string orchestra that was doing a short tour in Europe, and we were playing at the Mozarteum in Salzburg in the Grosse Hall. And this is one of the most magical places to play as a classical musician. And so we played the first half of our concert, and on the second half, there was Schoenberg's Verklärte-Nacht, which is a string sextet that has been orchestrated for full string orchestra. And unfortunately, about 3/4 of the audience left after the first half because of how badly we played. And so we walked back out on stage to play this extremely serious, dark, beautiful piece. And basically nobody's there to listen to it. And it was one of the most demoralizing moments of my career, and therefore the most memorable.
If an orchestra plays in the hall and no one's there to hear
No one's there to hear it. Do they play at all?
Yeah, I guess that could be memorable too. Bad experiences. There's a whole list of those. But I mean, I feel like it's. I mean, there's concerts happening that are great all the time, but like that, when it's actually special, I feel like it doesn't happen that often. Like I mean, when there's a point where like everyone's gelling, everyone is like, really in sync. It's rare, so it's great when that does happen. I don't know if you guys feel that way too, but
Well, it's interesting because I wouldn't actually say that it's rare. I think most of the time we are at a level that is really, really nice,
Yeah.
and it's a tight ensemble. But to then notice that difference is really hard.
Right.
Like it has to be so amazingly good for us to really gel and make the collective sit up a little straighter and work a little harder.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to tell when that's happening, and everybody kind of sits up and starts getting more into it. It's great.
Speaking of which, are you ready to play a little something?
I am. I'll go get my cello.
Yeah. Nice job.
I guess you're okay.
Man, honestly, I don't know about you, but this is like a very cool like vantage point, and just it's just cool to see these guys perform like in a different setting, right?
Man, I'm getting kind of choked up anyway, just hearing live music.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
nice.
Really, I
hearing-
mean,
hearing my colleagues
it's been
play.
6 months for me, like since I've played in anything that resembles live music, and I guess it's and counting because I'm just sitting here, but it's just really cool. It's really cool.
You look good doing it, though.
Okay, so I will just say Úna O'Riordan, our second guest today, originally from Chicago and raised in Northern Virginia, Oona completed her undergraduate at the Eastman School of Music and got her master's at Northwestern. Prior to the DSO, she was a member of the Oregon Symphony, principal of the Sarasota Opera, and assistant principal of the Sarasota Orchestra. She's an avid new music proponent and is involved in chamber music around Detroit, including New Music Detroit. She's on faculty at Oakland University School of Music and Wayne State. Please give a hand for Oona, and look at this perfect timing. Perfect timing. Úna O'Riordan. Thank you for joining us, Oona. Well, I guess this is for both you guys because you guys just played. But, well, what did you just play, and why did you choose that piece?
We just played a duet by Jean-Baptiste Barrière, which is kind of hard to say with a mask on, but he was a virtuoso cellist from the first half of the 1700s, and unfortunately, he died when he was only 40, but he wrote a lot of music for cello, and you can kind of tell from the music that he was really good at it. He actually started on the gamba, which was like the Baroque precursor to the cello. And actually, you know, he was French, but in Italy at the time, the cello was becoming more and more popular. And so he actually got very into the cello and very good at it and popularized it in France as well. So it actually wasn't my suggestion, it was Abe's. But I was really excited because I love the duo and I've actually never had a chance to perform it. So, yeah, that's how we chose it.
And you guys just rehearsed like one time, right?
No, we had 2 rehearsals plus the sound check.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is my first performance live.
Mine too.
You know, having to play chamber music, having not played chamber music in 5 months, you know,
5 months.
we needed a little bit of extra rehearsal.
So I have to say, it's awesome seeing the two of y'all play, but it's also kind of strange seeing you play so far apart. Was that like a very different experience as chamber musicians? Like, I'm used to being able to lean a little bit, but I mean,
Yeah.
beautiful job, obviously, but.
Thank you. We do have to look like very obviously, whereas before you can see things out of the corner of your eye more. But I had a rehearsal for a quartet just a few days ago, and it was really, really weird to get used to because everybody's so far away from each other that it's harder to hear and it's harder to see each other. So, but not too bad. It's better than not playing at all.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's really nice to be able to hear it.
So we're talking about our most memorable experiences, and we kind of wanted to ask you that too. Do you have a memorable experience that you remember?
It's really hard to pick one. So I think I have a couple that are very different that I will share. The first that comes to mind was when I was a student and I was at a festival in the wintertime, actually during Christmas break, with an orchestra, and we were made up of people from all over the world. Actually, there were only 3 Americans. And we were rehearsing and then performing in, we got to perform in the Berlin Philharmonie, which is the hall where the Berlin Philharmonic plays. And our conductor his name was Jakob Kreitzberg, and he was incredibly demanding. And he was unfortunately, he passed away about 10 years ago, rather prematurely, but he was a really great music director in Monaco. Anyway, he was really hard on us, and I will never forget it. And then the concert itself was just so good, and you felt like the whole, and I've felt that many times before, but it was like one of the first times where I felt like the power of an orchestra all coming together and uniting and doing their very, very best. And then playing in such an amazing space. And then the other one, it's kind of funny because I was thinking about it recently because I have to wear this mask all the time. And I actually played with this indie rocker. His name is Sufjan Stevens. And this was like maybe 12 or 13 years ago when I lived in Portland. And I had to wear hospital scrub pants, a military jacket. I had to have wings on, like enormous, like fairy wings. And then I had a mask on. And I had to run out onto the stage with the other string players, because there was about 6 of us, and we were filling out his ensemble. And I had to run out in the dark in my bare feet. And there was like a screaming crowd of like teenagers, which was really weird for me.
Wow.
And it was super fun though, and I had just heard of him, and I really love his music ever since. So that was incredibly fun because it was totally different from what I was used to doing, and a really weird outfit.
Do you kind of wish there were screaming teenagers at all of our concerts?
Yeah, maybe not all, but.
I was going to say, that sounds exactly like our concerts here. Like, no difference. That's funny. I guess, conversely, you said you had a pretty funny story about your worst experience. Like, I guess memorable in different ways, but what, like, your worst nightmare performance experience?
Oh, okay. Well, I think I was actually talking about my nightmares.
Oh, okay. Well, share that.
And it gets
Yeah.
worse, I guess.
Yeah.
We've all had them. I would love to
I
hear
definitely
yours.
have one, yes.
Well, it's usually a variation on going to work and playing a concert, thinking I'm going to play in the section and being told, no, you're the soloist and you have to play Dvorak concerto. And didn't you know that? And I was, oh no, I forgot and I can't remember how it goes. Yeah. And I'm naked or something like that. Yeah. And I think the other variation is that I know I have to play Dvorak cello concerto with an orchestra, and I go out there and I can't remember how it starts. So it's usually that, and then my teeth are falling out.
Oh, God.
So it's like, that's pretty much the theme.
Yeah. Luckily, you don't have to play trumpet or horn or something.
Is there like a specific pattern when this nightmare creeps up on you? Is it like before a big performance, an audition, solo, or is it just any time you'll just...
It's probably when I'm more stressed out. Like, I don't think I've had that kind of a nightmare in the last 5 months. I mean, I've had more anxiety about other things probably, like everybody, but not necessarily performance anxiety. So, yeah, it's probably when I'm really busy and a little worried about something, but I haven't figured out exactly, I definitely had those nightmares more when I was younger than I do now.
For me, I'm always holding the wrong instrument. I have to, I'm about to play a horn concerto, but I'm holding a ukulele, and I have no idea how to play that. but everybody else pretends it's normal, and I kind of have to figure it out as I go along. Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, actually, I was getting some nightmares, right when quarantine started, because I'm like, I feel like I should be doing something, but there's nothing to do. I don't know if anyone else had that, but yeah, mine is every time I play, the orchestra is here, and I'm always right behind them. I can never play with the orchestra. It's like a train that I can't keep up with, and it's the most frustrating thing ever. So that's my recurring one, and also that I'm late and I don't have the right clothes on, which actually that happens a lot. But but yeah, that's another nightmare.
I would say my nightmare is I mean,
share the
preparing for an audition, generally speaking, is pretty nightmarish. But my true nightmare is getting to the audition. And I mean, I guess I said this in the last episode where I just didn't have the right excerpts, right? And I had to call a friend. But to get on stage and start to play and have them stop and say, no, we meant the other excerpt. And that's all that they say is the other excerpt. And then you start to play, no, we meant the other excerpt. And that's my nightmare about auditions.
I feel like this all has happened to us in one form or another too. You know, like I don't know. I feel like that's a possibility. Maybe not the being naked part, but like a lot of that.
Speak for yourself.
So Una, tell us about your first experience with the DSO and like, and maybe some memorable ones like tours and.
Yeah, my first experience with the DSO was kind of incredible because I was called at the last minute to sub on their 2001 tour. I had never played in the orchestra. I didn't know anybody in the orchestra except for Robert Stiles, the librarian. And they were leaving in 4 days, and they needed a cellist at the last minute. And I was actually visiting a friend in Alabama. And I lived in Florida at the time, but my job wasn't going to start until later in October because of snowbirds don't come back till around then. So I was actually in Alabama, and I'd been traveling all summer, and obviously I had my cello because I always took my cello everywhere. But I had my passport, which was really strange, but it was expired. And I said, well, I'd love to go, but my passport is expired. And they said, no, it's fine. We can get that renewed in like 48 hours. So the next thing I knew, I went to the mall and I bought a suitcase and I bought some warm clothes and we were going to Europe. But we were landing in Dublin on my birthday. And my parents are from Ireland, and I have about 11 aunts and uncles, or actually I have 13 aunts and uncles. And a lot of them are in Ireland. And so when we got to the airport, I had like 3 aunts there to greet me. And we were there for a couple days. And so I got to see all this family that I hadn't seen in a really long time. But then, still hadn't played. Like I had just met the orchestra in the airport. And when we got off the plane, we went to the hotel, checked in, and immediately went to the Guinness Brewery, which I don't actually like beer that much, but having a beer in the brewery on my birthday in Dublin, when like 5 days earlier I was expecting to be in Alabama, that was really, really
Gotta
awesome.
do it. You gotta do it.
So then we had our first rehearsal the next day, and it was really amazing to get to play with the orchestra in the first half of the rehearsal. And the second half, I think the first piece was like reduced, where they didn't use the whole string section, and I expected, for some reason I thought since I was a sub, they wouldn't put me in, that I would, be the first person they'd cut, but I was wrong, and I was supposed to play. So I go out on stage, and I should preface all of this next part with telling you about the conductor, who was this really great musician, and he was kind of a cross between Santa Claus and Johannes Brahms. So he had like really long silver beard and like tiny, incredibly bright blue eyes and these really huge red cheeks. And he was extremely, round and jolly and sweaty. So conductors often will change their shirt for the second half of a rehearsal because they really do work out a lot in rehearsal. And he had just gotten off the plane before the rehearsal, and apparently his bag didn't make it. So he came out for the second half of rehearsal with just a white towel around his shoulders and held down by some black suspenders. And he was wearing his pants, so that was good. But like it was a shock.
No shirt.
No shirt, just suspenders and a little white towel, because he was drenched at the end of the first half of rehearsal. And I will never forget that sight. It was just burned into the back of my mind, and
That sounds more like one of your nightmares then.
yeah, it was bizarre. I mean, it was really crazy. But anyway, it ended up being a really great tour, and I got to know the orchestra and all the amazing people, and what a warm group it was, and it was really a a really, really great opportunity at the time of my life.
So along those lines, how is traveling with a cello?
Well, how do you think?
It sounds like really carefree and easy. I mean, they're not worth very much,
Yeah.
so you can just toss it in the...
You get a lot of attention, I mean, I'm sure Abe has stories, but I now buy a seat for my cello, and it's a lot better for my stress level. But when I was a student, I couldn't afford to do that, and I had a travel case. And you check it with your bag, and then it's like you're giving your child away, and you don't know if you're going to get it back or what shape it's going to be in. So I definitely had a lot of crazy experiences with that. The worst was when they actually lost the cello, and I had connected in Atlanta, and I was going back to Chicago when I was in grad school from Florida, and it didn't show up, and then I think they actually never took it off the plane. It didn't have the bag tag, and it was just a real kind of nightmare trying to track it down. But I did get it back, so happy ending.
And it was in one piece?
And it was in one piece. And I have to say, all the things that happened to me, I know a lot of cellists who actually had a lot of damage done to their cello, so I think I was really lucky.
Don't you have to buy a seat? Do people do that a lot, right? They buy a seat so you can sit next to the cello?
Yeah, you really, this day and age, you really, not just should, I think you almost have to, just because, it's almost like an added insurance policy that nothing's going to happen to it. And even then, they can tell you that you're not allowed to be on the plane with it. I mean, each airline has their own rules. Some are, you have to be by the window in the bulkhead. Some are by the window anywhere in the plane. And you get some, flight attendants or captains that don't know the rules, and you can get kicked off a plane just for arguing with them about what their airline's rules are. It's really interesting, actually. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of close calls of almost not being able to go on the plane because I'm getting really upset at the gate agent.
Yeah.
So one thing people always ask me is, do you get a second bag of peanuts? And I'm sure you're not surprised that we don't. We don't, even though we pay twice as much, we just get the one bag.
Yeah, there used to be a time when it was about half fare, right?
What?
There was a time when you paid half fare for cabin baggage.
Yeah, I think
And
Air
so-
Canada still does that,
Oh, wow, okay.
which is great.
And when you're really young and really cute, sometimes they'll, let you put your cello up because it's a little bit smaller, or they'll let you put it in the closet, and they say, oh, you're so, but then once you hit 13, 14 years old, they say, no, you can't bring it up.
You have to buy a first class ticket at that point for your cello.
I actually do have one amazing story about traveling with my cello, and it's the only time that this has ever happened, and I assume that it will never happen again. And as I was going on a tour with Orchestra of the Americas to Colombia, and so it was like a 9-hour flight from Miami, and I had two seats for my cello, one for me, one for my cello, and I guess there was a couple that wanted to sit together, but they couldn't find two people with seats together that would move. So they came to me and said, would you mind moving for this couple to be able to sit together? And I said, sure, it's fine. Where should I put my cello? And they said, well, actually, we're going to do something special. We'll put your cello in the captain's closet, and we'll let you sit in business class.
That's when you know you.
And the funny thing is that I was a student on this tour. This is a sort of a pre-professional orchestra, and so there were faculty members on the flight with me, and I was in business class as one of the students, and they were in the back of the plane. So that's my, if every airline would do that for a cellist, I think we'd all be really grateful.
Abe, did you ever try to get a frequent flyer account for your cello? Because I did.
Did it work?
We probably shouldn't air this then, right?
I know.
You might get-
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could do it anymore. But one thing that happened, I set up an account for Úna O'Riordan and Mr. Cello O'Riordan. And my cello that I play on was made in 1954. So his birthday was January 1st, 1954. And we had the same email address. And I noticed that United Airlines sent Mr. Cello O'Riordan all these like credit card offers and like the really fancy like, perks, like, or not like a perk, but like, join this and you'll get this, and I never got anything. I was so mad. It was my
Cello
credit
O'Riordan has a
card.
very
I was
nice-
paying the bills, and they weren't sending me the email.
So Cello O'Riordan's credit card is doing pretty well right now.
Yeah. I used to get credit card offers for Cello O'Riordan.
Yeah.
So,
So you have been a part of this New Music Detroit group ensemble. Can you just like talk a little bit about that? Because that's like a really cool thing.
yeah, I've been with, we call ourselves sort of a collective because we have a core group of us, about 5, 6. It kind of shifts depending on where people are living. But we try to play new music that's written in the last 20 years or even more recently. It started just before I joined the orchestra, and I started playing with them shortly after I moved here, and it was just a lot of fun, and we started doing this marathon concert every September. It started out, and I think it was like 12 hours long, and it has kind of evolved into a 2 to 3 day event every September in the fall, and it's a lot of fun, and we feature on our concert, we don't actually play for 12 hours straight, thankfully. We feature a lot of new music ensembles or experimental musicians that are in the region on that concert. And then the rest of the year, we try to give like 2 or 3 other smaller scale concerts in Detroit. And we've commissioned a lot of pieces. More recently, we commissioned a piece that was based on the murals at the DIA by Diego Rivera. And we got to premiere it there, which was super cool to play it in that space. So you could like, if you're in the audience, you could look around the mural during the piece and kind of hear what the composer had envisioned. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great group.
Do you enjoy like working with the composers directly, or just having the new music there, or is it the chamber music aspect, or kind of all of the above, working together?
Yeah, I mean, it's all of it. It's bringing a new piece to life that's never been played, or that at least our audiences have never heard before, and it's also really interesting combinations of instruments. I did a piece for cello, kick drum, and marimba a few years ago, and I had to play the kick drum at the same time, which was a really new thing for me. And I probably had a lot of nightmares before that concert.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Kick drum nightmares, the worst.
Yeah.
The worst kind.
And my neighbor downstairs was she was very encouraging. She used to send me texts like, "You're getting better at it," which is really nice.
It's very encouraging.
Yeah.
And not necessarily what I want to hear from a neighbor. We have time for just a quick game. We have another excellent prize in a DSO mask, and we're going to try
a sandwich, but the mask is fine.
It's not a sandwich. You could try to eat it, but I don't think it would do you very good. Anyway, this is a new game for us. It's a spelling game, and we're going to. I'm going to name a composer, and we're going to name another composer based on each letter. So, everybody with me? Do they think they know how to play? We're going to take turns going this way.
First and last name.
You can use first or last
Okay.
names. Yes.
Okay.
So can we do like a practice round?
Sure. Let's do a practice round. Let's do Bach. So, Oona, start us off with B.
Bieber. He was a
A
Renaissance
composer. Bieber.
Not Justin Bieber.
Yeah, the
Oh.
other one. Yeah.
The guy
the
from
other
the
one.
Renaissance.
But he's a composer too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he can
Fair
play.
enough.
Oh, okay. Brahms. Sorry.
Sure.
Brahms.
Okay. Abe, A.
Antonin Dvorak.
Okay.
Very nice first name. Andres. C.
C. Yeah, I got the game. Let's play. I can't think of a C. I think that's the.
Okay. So when we actually play, you would be out.
That was the goal.
Okay, so starting now.
I want to show how you're eliminated.
The first name is Strauss. We're gonna go. I'm thinking it's Richard Strauss, but if you want Johann, that's totally fine. You're wrong, but that's totally fine. So, Oona, S.
Stravinsky.
Very nice. T. Abe.
Tchaikovsky.
Excellent. R.
Ravel.
A.
Adams.
U.
You?
Oh.
Isn't it V? Oh,
Strauss.
Strauss. Sorry.
I think I'm out.
You are out.
Man.
U's a tough one.
Is it you to me?
It's you to you.
You.
Damn. I'm out. I don't know.
Anyone think of a U? Ooh, you might be tough.
Oona. No, no, that didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we have to keep going. S.
I already said Stravinsky.
3.
Oh no.
Oh!
Sibelius.
Oh, nice.
Sibelius. Okay. We'll give that to you.
Thank you.
Sibelius. Second S. Andres.
Johann Strauss. Is that cheating?
I mean,
That's cheating. That's cheating.
okay. Fine.
Oh.
We made it through Strauss.
Yeah.
We're gonna do another one.
Okay. That's tough. Under pressure.
Am I back
Oh,
in
yeah.
or am I out the whole time?
You're still out because we have to determine a winner.
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks.
are we
Thanks.
on I now?
I'm going to name another composer.
Oh, you're okay.
'Cause this is
I
Strauss.
still don't really get the game.
Now we're gonna do Dvorak, which is one of my favorite composers to spell. So
If you could spell it, you get the prize.
we've got D.
D. This is hard. Debussy.
Very nice. V. Andres.
Oh. Thought I was going this way. Villalobos.
Oh, very nice. O. Una.
I'm thinking of Irish composers right now.
Yeah.
There's got to be one.
Oh.
Oh, shoot.
5.
That's one. I was-
4, 3, 2, 1.
No, you win.
Okay, to Andres, can you get an O?
Oliver Messiaen.
Oh, you can use first names.
Yeah, you can use first names. Oh, sorry.
No,
But-
you said that.
I did. We
Give it
have
to me,
our
Una.
winner.
Give it to me.
You-
Yes.
Good job.
A DSO mask. Well
Awesome.
done. And thank you,
Nice.
Una.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Una. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys all sticking with us for the past few hours and enjoying the show. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
Thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here.
Thank you very much.
Una.
Yeah. Una, thank you so much. Appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Yeah.